Hey, welcome in everybody to another episode of Real Talk with Papa Moon. I'm your host, Papa Moon. On today's episode, I have the gentleman to my right, your left. He's an artist from Cleveland. I'm not going to tell you what type of artist. We're gonna find out. He's here to help share his story with us, and we're gonna get rolling. Dyllan, welcome in.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, I appreciate you coming in. How's the day been?
Not too bad. A little wet by now. It's raining outside pretty bad, but
Yeah, right.
yeah, we made it. We're here.
You know, I worked today during the 70 degrees, and I got to my coworker. I go, it's gonna rain as soon as I leave, and it did.
Yeah. No, it was nice for a minute. I was inside all day,
Okay.
working myself. So
Well, yeah, it's welcome to Cleveland, right?
yeah.
So, all right. So let's get rolling. We're gonna tell your story. For people who don't know you, tell them a little bit who Dyllan Shipley is.
So I am a tattoo artist out of Columbia Station right now at a shop called 252 Tattoo. But my side quests more so have kind of gravitated towards tattooing backstage for bands, rappers, artists that go on tour. I work a lot with the local venues like House of Blues, the Agora, but I also travel a lot. I've done, I think by now, about 23 different shows in, I think, 5 or 6 different states. And yeah, I mean, I've always been a creative, but as of right now and kind of where life is leading me is a lot heavily based on the music industry.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Austin gave us a little insight about that, so we're going to touch on all that. You know, he was my inside guy.
Yeah.
Give me a little bit of
Shout out
something.
Austin. That's
Yeah,
my boy.
absolutely. Double dose art.
Yep.
Yeah. See the mug? Double dose art, man, right here. So what was growing up like? I mean, were you a creative guy? I mean, were you always into like the arts or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I would always find myself doodling more in class than I was paying attention to the teacher, or finding more interest in like just going home and working on sketches or drawings or paintings or anything like that. And like as I got older, it just kind of like progressed into different avenues, and I found myself just kind of like wanting more with like anything art related, and it transitioned from just on paper work to canvas to like just customizing shoes and even down to like engraving skateboards, and there were anything that I could do to just kind of keep my hands busy. And it just kind of progressed and like kind of snowballed over time that it's just my comfort thing, I guess, or just
Okay.
like what I find myself like to enjoy the most out of anything.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, growing up, it was definitely not super school focused, but very much art focused. I was in the art club. I was in a lot of like different creative avenues. I went to the career center for graphic imaging technology, which is very hands-on, like printing and stuff like that. And yeah, it just kind of always stuck with me, I guess.
Okay.
So
All right. Yeah. Yeah. So like people always see like your highlights, stuff like that, your artwork, that all shines. I mean, that's up front. Who is the person behind that? Who's the person behind that artwork?
deep question. I don't know. I mean, I would have like if you're referring to me,
Yeah.
like as that person. I don't know. Like I growing up tied into with just being more comfortable, like even just sitting at home and drawing or painting or doing that. Like I would go out and like hang out with my friends for sure, but I always found most enjoyment just like being at home and like watching movies. That was a big thing for me. Or why I've been so like into the music scene lately and being able to kind of transition my current career that way is because another thing I would always have music on in the background. And no matter what it is, what I'm doing, wake up first thing in the day and music's going on, or I'm sitting there drawing a picture for 7, 8 hours long, and
Wow.
I'm listening to music the whole time. I mean, I'll put an album on and listen to it 3 or 4 times before I change it, kind
Okay.
of thing. So I'd say me as a person is definitely very influenced on not only the music industry, but like film
Okay.
specifically. Harry Potter is one of my biggest like favorite franchises or films, I guess. So shout out Harry Potter. But,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So we're gonna go just a little bit off subject for a second. You're talking about how much you like music. Who's your favorite?
I never have a good answer for that because me as a person and the way that I grew up, my mom was very much into like Rage Against the Machine and Limp Bizkit and Metallica and a lot of like kind of more like metal based bands. And as I got older or grew up, I started finding different avenues of music. I have a lot of EDM artists that I really, really enjoy. I have a lot of like pop punk, a lot of metal, a lot of rap that I like to listen to. But I would say if I had like that number one, definitely Mac Miller for sure. It kind of like was such a like a eye-opening artist for me, and being just like a little younger than he is, but following his whole career from like the start to inevitably the finish. But also in the way of bands, Neck Deep, that's huge for me. Pop punk music is just such an energy release for me.
Yeah.
I love going to shows. We did Warped Tour last year, and it's just such an amazing experience. And I've seen Neck Deep, I think 9 times by now. But
Oh wow.
yeah,
Just a couple times.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I never knew Mac Miller until, God rest his soul, after he passed. My son, Eli, he turned me on to him, and I'm like, man, his words, they're just deep.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just deep. So I really got to like him. But all right, so how did you, like, you were talking about, like, you like to paint and draw, whatever. Um, how did you get started? When did you pick up what's it called, the tattoo gun? When did that start?
So, first time kind of diving into tattooing, I mean, I was getting tattoos before I was a tattooer. And like, I was into it for sure, but it was definitely not even like really a thought of like a career path in a way. Realistically, it was like in the very early stages of COVID that I was working in the field of kind of what I went to school for, in graphic imaging, media marketing, at this place over in Twinsburg. Very corporate, suit and tie, the whole 9 yards. And I just wasn't happy. But I was also customizing shoes on the side. And I was still finding ways to just still be creative. And I had my own Instagram page. I had like my own like stuff I was doing outside of the corporate America, I guess. And it was, I think, September or maybe even August of 2022, I believe it was, that the mother of my daughter had like stumbled across the post that there was a shop looking for a tattoo artist, and I believe it just went the way of her sending out my stuff, and that's to the text or the number that was on the post or whatever, this, that, and the other. And then I get reached out to and say, hey, like, you ever thought about tattooing? And I said, no, well, I like tattoos, but never really thought about it before. It took me a little bit to kind of come to terms with, oh, am I really going to leave this 401k benefits 9 to 5 type job for something as like wishy-washy, at least as it seemed to
Sure.
be tattooing. And honestly, at the time, Sarah, my daughter's mother, was like a big motivator like during that transitional period, and like kind of a huge support on that, and being able to kind of guide me through like, it's okay, like this, if it makes you happy, like that's what you have to do.
Right.
And it was a long road. It wasn't like just, okay, like, yeah, let's take you in and like apprentice you and put a machine in your hand right there. It was a little bit more to that. But it was like very early stages of kind of like the whole COVID lockdown kind of time frame, or I guess like mid stage of it really, that I had like that foot in the door and made that step to kind of work towards being a tattooer.
Okay. What a big step.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, from where you were at to that, like you said, it's like, am I gonna, is it gonna work out?
Yeah.
It's scary. It could be scary because, the job I'm at right now, I could have retired 2 years ago, but I'm scared.
Yeah.
But of the unknowns. So, do you remember your first tattoo?
Oh, absolutely.
That you
Absolutely.
gave?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Shout out Nick Luzader. That is one of my childhood best friends' father who like always swore at, because I had friends and family that always told me, "Oh, you should get into tattooing." And I was like, "Ah, no, it's not really not what I wanted to do." And I always saw myself as being more like in the fashion industry. I wanted to start my own clothing line, and like that's how I leaned into like the shoe customization and everything. But yeah, one of my childhood best friends, his father got the first tattoo ever, and he was one of the
I
people,
love it.
probably 18 years or so by now ago, that was really telling me I should get into tattooing just off of the art and stuff that I was making at the time.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, they give you that confidence.
yeah,
That's
definitely.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
That's cool that he was your first. I mean, was there a moment? I mean, when was the moment that clicked to say, yeah, this isn't just a passion. This is what I want to do. This is, what I want to do for a living.
If I'm being honest, and not to kind of downplay it by any means, but it really hasn't been up until this past year.
Okay.
I'm coming up on the 4-year mark of being a tattooer, and it wasn't really until this past year that I like kind of have been finding my own way and narrowing down that like feeling of like this is what I want to do forever. And truthfully, it's all 100% backed by the travel and everything that I've been able to like have the opportunity to do with backstage tattooing and just being in Chicago for a Friday the 13th Flash event with a band called Victims, and like those types of things, and being able to just connect on like deeper levels with these musicians and the artists that I enjoy listening to. It gives me that sense of like this is what I want to do. This is my purpose. This is where like I need to be.
Yeah, it seems like you're like meshing the two together. Your passion for art and your passion for music, because you're meshing it together.
Yeah.
Okay,
Definitely.
that's cool. That's really cool. So, what is what's a part of tattooing that people really don't see or don't know about? Like an average person.
I mean, there's definitely certain elements to it, but I think it's not as like hectic, crazy, like insane as like some people might think it, or complex or complicated as some people might think it could be. I guess just like the time spent when you're at home and you have a client that gives you a concept of something, and it's like 15 different topics, and you have to try to figure out how to bring all 15 of those points into like one thing.
Yeah.
And there's been many times within the past 3 or 4 weeks, I'll stay up until 4, 5, 6 in the morning, like trying to put together an appointment that's not even going to happen for the next 3 or 4 days. But I know if I don't figure it out now, or at least a baseline of it, then I'd take the next 2 or 3 days to really refine it. And then the next day after that to like approach the client and make sure it's like everything that they want. There's a lot of just personal time that goes into it. It's not all being at the shop. You can whip it up in 20 minutes, call it a day, especially for a large piece, a full sleeve. It takes time.
Yeah, this is more almost like personalized.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I like
Yeah.
that. I like that a lot. Um, so this one here, this is I was thinking about this, knowing that you're putting ink on somebody and it's permanent. Is there any pressure to it behind it?
At first, I feel like absolutely. I mean, I was scared to the core when I had done that first tattoo, and even though I've known Nick for years, and I grew up with him as my best friend's dad, and
Yeah.
spent summers at their house, and like, but that did not take away anything from the like how scared I was to
Yeah.
kind of get into that first tattoo. And I think once you do it enough, the only time that feeling really comes around is if it's within a style that you might be uncomfortable with, or that you're like uncertain on, or that you might feel as yourself as the artist needs a little bit of work on. But I've worked with so many different people by now, and I've trained a handful of apprentices myself, and one of like the key phrases that I've just narrowed down to like utilizing in a lot of situations in my life is just don't run from things, run towards them. And if you just kind of hold that mentality of like, well, like this scares me, I'm going to back up a little bit. Oh, like, I don't know, I'm a little hesitant. Just dive into it. The worst that can happen is that there's going to be a little mistake here, a little mistake there, something that very likely could just be fixed or resolved just on a technicality of how the tattoo is going to heal, how the color is going to sit and saturate into the skin. There's always going to be someone else around that can kind of offer advice as well. There's a multitude of things. So it's like, if I am ever presented with something that makes me feel that kind of pressure or like uncertainty, then I just kind of remind myself that like, oh, well, like it's going to be okay either way. 3 days from now, it's going to be something else.
Right.
And I'm going to be past what I'm freaking myself out about right now in this moment. So it makes it a little easier to kind of just navigate that, jump into the thing right in front of you and keep it moving.
Okay. Yeah, that's I mean, I'm not very autistic. Autistic. I mean, I am. I'm not I'm not very artsy, shall we say? I mean, that's wow. That's crazy, man. I couldn't do it. I think I'd be scared. My daughter wants to be a tattoo artist.
But it's a lot of repetition that kind of goes into it though too. I've at one point kind of viewed it as like sports conditioning in a way. You do it enough, then you're going to get used to it, or you're going to figure out that flow, and you're going to figure out like the best way to do it and how it's going to work for you. There were a lot of nights in my apprenticeship in the early days of doing those first handful of tattoos that like my hand was just cramped up, exhausted, because I would go to the shop and do maybe 3 or 4 tattoos, but then I would go home, and because those tattoos the lines weren't steady enough, I would go home and I would have to draw 50 roses by the next day and go in and do another 5 tattoos. So it's like your hands are just getting a workout, and then you learn, okay, well, like I'm building up the muscle in my palm, I'm building up the muscles in my wrist and the tension between my 2 fingers that I stretch the skin with, and like it progresses as that time goes on. So it's very much like a sports conditioning in the way is the only best way I can really kind of put it.
No, absolutely, yeah. Wow. Okay. So let's see here. I've seen some of your I've seen some of your events that you've gone through, some big events, and let's talk on those big events that you've tattooed at.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, there's kind of been a lot. I don't even know where to start. I mean, I'll start at the beginning. In September of 2024 was kind of like where I had that first idea of just being able to do more than just sit at the shop. And I felt like at one point I was just like stagnant, and I didn't like it. I don't like being complacent or just like sitting in one spot. I like to do stuff. And there was a band that was coming around at the time that my best friend Robert, actually, him and his girlfriend Heather, had an extra ticket to. They're like, oh, this band called Point North. They're going on tour with another band called Rivals. Heather's really into them. Robert is really into Point North. And I started listening to them a lot more as that show started to like move forward or like creep up on the calendar. And I was like, whoa, let me see if I can tattoo them. And like, if they want me to like come to the venue and do like tattoos for them. And next thing I know, I've been on, I think 4 different shows in 3 different tours with Point North by now. Best band ever. They were the first ones that like kind of took me in and like helped me like break that ice of doing the whole like backstage thing. And I would not have found like that momentum or like that drive if it wasn't for them. And one of the, not this past most recent time I was with them, but the time before, when they were on tour with Falling in Reverse, I actually had them tattoo me. So that's why it says Porth right here for Point North. And yeah, such an amazing group of people. Shout out Andy, John, Alyssa, Adam, Josh, Mike, fucking everybody. Oh, sorry for the language.
You're
but-
right. You're right. You know, we can cuss on the podcast.
Yeah.
You just can't vape.
Got you. Got you.
So, wow, that's crazy, man.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was the first one ever, and since then, I mean, it's been absolutely wild. Everybody seems to know everybody, and I mean, going from that first show ever to getting pulled out by the tour manager of Alice Cooper and Judas Priest, like that within itself was absolutely insane to me, and set it off. Puya, Fame on Fire, Silent Planet, Invent Animate. I mean, I can do a whole like list of different people, but truly, like it would not be where it is right now if it was not for Point North. And specifically, like Alyssa has pulled me out for I think 3 or 4 different tours that inevitably got me to link with like separate other bands that pulled me out for like 4 other like shows that they did. Like I would not have come across a band called Victims if it wasn't for Alyssa. I wouldn't have been at the Body Snatcher and Whitechapel show if it wasn't for Alyssa. I wouldn't have been at the Set It Off show if it wasn't for Adam. There were a lot of these shows, and like it would not be here without them.
Okay.
Would not have found that like momentum or like that excitement or enjoyment and like the drive for everything that I have right now if it wasn't for that core group of people.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, have you tattooed in any venue? Like when bands come to Cleveland, have you had any venues here in Cleveland?
Oh,
that
absolutely.
you've tattooed at?
Absolutely. I lost track of how many times I've tattooed at the House of Blues. Shout out Sam Day, that is my boy. He does like stage production managing at the House of Blues, and but yeah, I've been there tons of times. I've done the Globe Iron a handful of times. I just did the Agora with Baby No Money. Hopefully, first show at Mahal's coming up on April 1st. But yeah, a lot of local stuff, a lot of traveling too, though. But I try to keep it as local as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I'm sure you met some great people.
Oh, it's been fantastic.
Like, who's the most famous you've tattooed? If you're allowed to say.
Well, I mean, I would say I don't know. Everyone to me is like, it's most famous, I guess, would be like Young Gravy, but and like tattooing, I did a Gravy Train on his chest, and but even then, like such an amazing group of people. Like I think a lot of people, they don't kind of realize that the artists that do like tour or go around and everything like that, and they are playing these headliner shows or whatever, they're just normal people. Like they're especially the Young Gravy team. I mean, shout out Andrew Puya, such a great dude, and their whole team was amazing. They had us out at the House of Blues show, and then a week or 2 later, I get another text saying, "Hey, do you want to come to Kentucky?" And they pulled me out to the Kentucky show, and that was the one that I actually tattooed Young Gravy at. And I did more tattoos for their whole like camp and their team and everything. Shout out Pertinence, he was on that tour as well. But yeah, it's I don't know, it's just been really incredible. And
Okay. So you basically you're tattooing like the band, the people in the like that goes on tour with them.
absolutely,
Is that what it is? Okay.
yeah.
You haven't got a random like someone from the audience want a tattoo or anything
No,
like that?
no.
Okay.
Yeah, strictly. I mean, majority of it, but majority of what I do is strictly backstage, unless it is,
Okay.
unless it's like announced as a general public event. Like the Friday the 13th one that I just done in Chicago, that was general public. That wasn't just for the band. I had been on 3 or 4 different shows with the band called Victims, and they were putting together this headliner show in Chicago, and they wanted to do Friday the 13th flash tattoos, and so we set it up with the venue, we set it up and with the space that we had and everything, and it was a general public type thing. But majority of music stuff that I do is very much just backstage, just for the artists, just for like the teams that they roll around with, the photographers, the sound guys, tour managers, people like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's cool, man. I like that. I like that a lot. So you ever see? Not ever. When did you see this this big moment? I mean, I can't even get this one out. I apologize. So when did you see this big moment coming? Like, you ever envision it, like this was going to happen, or it just happened?
Honestly, it kind of touching back on what I had mentioned before, it kind of snowballed a little bit. There were a lot of shows that I had gotten asked for rather than me going out to like seek out and trying to tattoo these bands or anything. And it was when a band finishes a tour, the photographer, for example, they might get booked for a different tour with a different band. So when that other band goes on tour, they might come around to Cleveland. And already having worked with that photographer one time, they come back to Cleveland and they remember, oh, Dyllan came and did tattoos for us like in the green room. Now I'm with a different band. Hey, you guys want to get tattoos? And then I get asked if I want to be a part of that show or go to that venue and do tattoos for everybody. But I don't think I really like realized that I didn't have like an oh shit moment or anything up until realistically like maybe a month and a half ago to like 2 months ago, where at first it started out, I did my very first show ever, and then 4 or 5 months go by and then I do another show, and then from there it's like, okay, now 3 months from there or 2 months from there I do another show, and then that turned into, okay, now it's one show a month.
Wow.
And then from there it was, I mean, I've done three specific weekends of back-to-back shows where I have a show on a Friday and have a show on a Saturday with like two different bands. So I think it really hasn't been up until like the past 2 months or so that like things are kind of getting a little bit more like momentum in a way, where it just seems to be happening a little bit more frequently and kind of getting the ball rolling a little bit further, I guess. So really the past month or two, truthfully.
Sounds like it's like word of mouth or whatever. People see your work or whatever.
For the most part, but also shout out Scene Queen. She came to the shop. She's a musician herself, and alternative music and everything is fantastic. She was amazing to work with, and but hopefully you can kind of move in the direction too of just like, okay, instead of things maybe being so hectic and me coming to the show, if you guys have an off day and these bands coming around, they still can recognize me and what I do, but maybe get them to come to the shop or something. So it's a little bit more calm setting or whatever it might be. So I don't know. There's a handful of avenues that I kind of want to take this and like what I do. I just haven't quite figured out like the route yet, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
So being a tattoo artist, has it changed your life? I mean, what do you feel for the best?
Oh,
or?
definitely. I mean, having such like a strong connection to music itself, and being like the type of person that I am, I definitely could say like it's changed a lot in the sense of like just the opportunities and where I've been able to go, what I've been able to do, the people I've been able to meet, the opportunities that have been presented. I mean, when I do the backstage shows, it's not like there's a fixed dollar amount on stuff like that. But it's also opened up the door for my comfort in doing other events. I work a lot with Harley Davidson, and we do as the shop. I did the AMMA festival in Canton, which is a medieval MMA thing, which was really cool, and more general public tattooing events like that. Alter Ethos in last September. Shout out Lauren Callahan, Femme and Fauna. Just a lot of like I guess a lot of like the growth and everything is to me the benefit of like what I do, and just like noticing a growth of like me as a person and the people I get to meet and the friendships and like the connections that I get to make through what I do.
Okay. So like outside of your drawing, your tattooing, what do you do on your downtime? What's your self care? Like get yourself back together or whatever.
So like a reset almost.
Yeah, like a reset, because a lot of times, like even like with music artists, sometimes you get that, artist, get that burnout.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you gotta like take a reset.
Definitely either staying home and hanging out with my daughter or hanging out with my friends. Really.
Okay.
That's about it. Shout out Nick, Brittany, Austin, Tristan. That's like my family.
Yeah.
And then definitely my daughter. She's such a smart, wonderful little 7-year-old, and it's nice to like have like a busy weekend or like where I'm all over the place and like things are very hectic for like 48 hours, but getting to hang out with her and just like watch a movie at nighttime or something, or wake up and then make breakfast, like something as simple as that, it's like just nice. It's comforting. It's
absolutely.
that within itself is a reset to me. So
Being a father is amazing. Yeah, I'm a father of 5, a grandfather of 2. So being a grandfather and a father, man, it's rewarding.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's rewarding.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, let's go to these. I got a couple questions here. They're kind of open ended.
Absolutely.
The biggest risk you've ever taken.
Just in general, or just like with tattooing?
Just in general.
Just in general. Honestly, tattooing.
Just tattooing?
Yeah, truthfully. I've done a lot of like scary shit in my day. Just like life stuff in general, not like anything crazy, but making that transition or that jump from like what I went to school for, what I was working towards, and where I was at, to swap over to tattooing was very scary to me.
Yeah. That's a big leap.
Very, very big, and definitely was like the hardest thing to kind of like navigate for me. So I'd say just in the sense of like a risk was I didn't know what the outcome was going to be. I didn't know where it was going to take me. I didn't know if in 6 months I even wanted to do it anymore.
Yeah.
So, but I knew that I wasn't happy where I was. I knew that I had a lot of people that were like pushing me and saying like you have to do it. Like my friend Cassie, that was another like huge supporter for me. Since like day one, like middle school, day one. And I knew this is the path that I was gonna like proceed with, like in life and everything, just because of those people that were around me, like nudging me and motivating me and
supporting you. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's great. It's great to have a great support group. 100%, man. Okay, people don't see the part what I see. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. I apologize. Please, it says people don't see the part where we're gonna move on because I'm not, I can't read my own writing. That's the bad part. Okay. Betting on yourself. What's that really mean?
Man, just do what you think that you can do, or just do shit. Honestly, I don't even know how to like word it the right way, but the instance that just kind of popped in my head was last April when I had the only way I did the Puya show was by showing up to the House of Blues in the loading dock with a car full of my tattoo shit. And like I parked on the outside of the street. I walked up through the loading dock and like the part where pedestrians are not allowed to go, and walked up to the security guard and just tried to like talk my way in to like do tattoos. And he was like, "Oh no, man, like I'll try to get a hold of the tour manager. Like we'll let you know. I'll take your card, whatever." I was like, "All right, whatever." I'm like gonna walk back to the car. As I'm walking back, 2 other people are walking from the street and like step over the fence and are about to get on the tour bus. I start running for the tour bus to try to flag them down and just say, "Hey, you guys want tattoos?" And they're like, "Oh, well, we'll take your information." They followed me on Instagram. I'm sitting in the car. 4 or 5 minutes later, they're like, "Yeah, come on in." And if I hadn't just like showed up without permission, I said, not saying you should do that. Don't just break and entering. Don't like break and entering. But like taking like the bets on yourself, and just like, if you want something, like go do it. What's the worst that's gonna happen? They're gonna say no sometimes. I can't tell you how many times I've already been told no when it comes to doing shows, and you just get used to it. Because there's always going to be the next one. There's always going to be one after that. And there's going to be 100 more down the road if you set that as your path. And if you set yourself up to have those 100 coming up. kind of thing. If you don't, then you don't have 100 options right in front of you of the opportunities that are going to present themselves.
Yeah. Sounds like you have to knock on 100 doors to get one to open.
Exactly. And you got to be willing to accept that. You got to be willing to take that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's we're going to start to wrap this up here.
Absolutely.
If you want to like say something inspirational, educational, whatever, just look at the camera and tell Papa Moon's fans or people watching.
There's a lot of scary shit going on in the world right now, but the only thing that will matter in the end is create and create good. Spread happiness, be happy. Don't let all of the negativity and like negative social media influences like kind of hold you down. You can open one of the social medias these days, and within the first 5 seconds, it's terrible. Put your phone down, go make something, go create something. It could be macaroni art. It could be just crayons on a piece of paper. It will help you feel better. No matter what it is, how you do it, make something. That's what we're here for. We're humans. We build, we create, we envision, we are much more than just hate and fighting and arguing and war and negativity, I guess.
Yeah.
Do more, be better.
Awesome. So, you have anything coming up that you want to let them know? Any like festivals or anything like that coming up that people may want to know about?
It will be a pretty busy summer for me. A lot of traveling, a lot of bouncing around a little bit. But one main thing that I'm transitioning the tattooing backstage into is not so much a podcast, but if you're familiar with the show Hot Ones, I will be moving forward in a direction where I will be interviewing the bands and rappers that I work with while I tattoo them backstage, filming it and producing a YouTube series about it.
Nice. I look forward to that.
Yeah, it'll be called Permanent Volume. Things are already kind of like in motion and like in the works with it. They really have been for the past couple months. But yeah, that'll be what you'll probably be seeing out of me through the summertime.
Okay, if somebody wants some ink or they just want to get a follow you or whatever, where can they follow you at?
So my Instagram is going to be SHIPCARTEL, all one word. It has all of my information on there. It has booking info, phone number, any way that you can reach me, really. And yeah, whether it's to stop in the shop, like I said, 252 Tattoo in Columbia Station, Ohio, just on the outskirts of Olmsted Falls in like the Berea area. And yeah, if you want to book a show too, sign me up.
Absolutely. You heard it here, people. Hey, I would be... we have a sponsor, Ellie Rose Fragrance.
Absolutely.
Easter's coming up. You need a candle. You need body sprays, body mist. She does it all. She's right here in, it's made here in the United States, North Carolina. And if you follow, if you do Inside Edge 20, on your order, you get 20% off the entire order. So go ahead and support her and support local businesses and stuff like that. I just want to say, if you are in a dark spot, you're not feeling good, reach out to somebody. Don't sit on it, because you do matter, whether you believe it or not. Your story matters, you matter, your voice matters. So I'll reach out to somebody. And with that said, stay real, stay kind, and remember, every voice matters. Love you guys.
Fanatics isn't just our name, it's who we are. Loyal, passionate fans dedicated to our favorite teams and to the sports we love. That's why we're honored to be able to offer fans the world's largest collection of official sports apparel and sports jerseys from all the leagues, teams, and players you love. We feature a wide selection of gear from every league, including NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, and NCAA merchandise, which allows us to serve fans of football, baseball, hockey, basketball, lacrosse, soccer, golf, and everything else that gets your heart pumping. Go to Fanatics.com by using the QR code on your screen right now to celebrate your teams. Clean energy, bold flavors, no jitters. See why people won't shut up about Dubby. Clean energy, no jitters or crash. Helps you lock in and focus. Over 15 absolute fire flavors to choose from. Visit Dubby.gg and use promo code InsideEdge10. Whether you're searching for a baseball autographed by your favorite World Series slugger, a signed football by an iconic Hall of Famer, or the jersey of a world-famous soccer star, you've come to the right place. Here at sportsmemorabilia.com, the web's leading source of authentic sports memorabilia, you'll find more than 500,000 authentic products from nearly every professional sports league, team, and player. Not only will you find your next prized sports possession with ease thanks to superb customer service and tremendous site experience, but you'll have the satisfaction and peace of mind that every product listed comes complete with a certificate of authenticity and is fully backed by the sportsmemorabilia.com lifetime authenticity guarantee. Mosser Moments Photography is a husband and wife wedding photography team based in Cleveland, owned and operated by Ryan and Hallie Mosser. For the past 10 years, they've captured more than 100 weddings across Northeast Ohio and beyond, always working together as a true two-person team. Their style centers on authentic, emotional storytelling, documenting the real moments between two people in love and creating images that feel natural, comfortable, and true to the couple. Rooted in Northern Ohio, but inspired by their travels, Ryan and Hallie bring a warm, personal approach to every wedding day. Their work blends experience, consistency, and a genuine passion for helping couples relive their best day through timeless photography. Learn more at MosserMomentsPhotography.com.